Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to our video where we're going to share with you today the video of the Bambinos practice that they held the other day. I'm joined by Kale today as well, and we're going to talk about it a little bit, but we're going to show it to you first, so here you go. Alright, so there you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our just initial thoughts after seeing the video. I'll start. Obviously, they're improved. I think we both agree on that. They look a lot better than they did in the last tournament. They all look like they're throwing it harder, and there's a little bit more movement on the ball. They're a little bit more consistent with actually hitting the chair, which is a big deal in JL. So that's my kind of first take on it. Kale, what'd you see?
My first take is that this team knows that we've been putting, and the rest of the league really has been putting a lot of hype on this team to be this young, up-and-coming, talented team that can and should make the playoffs. And to me, this video shows that they've heard that and that they're embracing it and they want to win. I mean, they're out there practicing, putting a lot of thought into this. So, yeah, they definitely look improved. The biggest thing to me was that they're throwing the ball harder. Because we know that, Nate throws the ball really hard, but he's wild. And then there was Tyler and Lane in the last tournament. And, they pitched some, but they didn't throw very hard, to be quite honest, and their balls didn't move that much.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing for me.
All right, so now we're going to talk about something that is kind of the biggest story here, at least for us after seeing this, which is now this team has a pitching controversy. Now, we've had this for 2 straight tournaments now. Last time it was the underdogs. I think this one is a little bit bigger of a controversy because, first of all, this team they expect to win more than the underdogs do, I think. But I think they actually have a better pool of people to choose from. But this definitely shakes things up a bit, doesn't it, Gil?
Well, you know what? Ever since the end of the last tournament, we've been assuming, and basically everyone else has been assuming, that Nate Williamson is going to be their starter because after the tournament we were like, well, he looks the best, he throws the hardest, he's probably their best chance to win, especially when they get to playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So, but we had never really got like an official confirmation from anyone in their management, any of their players. Even after the tournament, they were like, we love Nate, but he throws balls, we know he's not the most efficient pitcher. So they never came out and said Nate's going to be our starter. Yeah. And another thing that this video tells me, well, number one, Nate's not in the video. They said when they sent it in, Nate couldn't make it to the practice. But you know what, Brock? I don't think they would have even had this practice if they wouldn't have. If they aren't thinking of, if in their heads Nate isn't the starter right now, because this whole practice was them pitching. It's not like they were hitting or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree that they don't even have the practice if Nate is their starter. So to me, it kind of shows they're looking to have someone else as their starter. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. I don't even know if Nate is. I mean, he's probably still in the conversation, but I think they're wanting to go in a different direction. That's just what I see. Do you think that, or do you think that he just wasn't able to make it?
Well, I think, yeah, he probably wasn't able to make it, but I don't think, they still were going to have that practice, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? It's it looks to me, well, and they've even said this when they sent it, it's they're trying to figure out who's going to be their guy on defense, their starting pitcher. And we know you have to have a good starting. This is a huge decision.
Yeah.
And we had kind of made the decision for them, kind of, you know, like just assuming it was going to be Nate. But I think now what you're seeing is they aren't so, you know, they weren't really that confident. You know, that wasn't their mindset.
Yeah, I mean,
It's, you know,
maybe they think they can win more games with someone else there. I don't know. It just basically it shows that the pitching position is wide open right now.
well, let's get into that now. Like, let's talk about who, like, after watching this, Brock, what would you do if you were, like, coaching or the owner of this team or whatever? And you were in
I
charge?
was on the Bambinos after watching that video, and remember there was only 7 pitches thrown in the video, I think. So, but
Yeah, we had a few problems with the video. We'll address in a couple minutes.
we'll talk about that in a second. But what I would do, I would go with Colton Titus because to me, he looks like I mean, they're all throwing it hard. So I think they're all throwing it about, the same as in terms of how hard they're throwing it. But I think he has the most movement on his ball, and I think that he can be the most consistent at throwing strikes. What do you think?
I'm going to disagree. I think Tyler Traver is looks the most consistent at throwing strikes, and he was the most consistent in the last tournament for them throwing strikes. It's just that in the last tournament he wasn't throwing very hard, so it was like you could hit him.
Yeah.
Colton Tide, to me, they're all throwing about the same speed, it looks like, including Nate. Except I think Lane is maybe throwing a little bit less speed than the rest of them. So they're different. Nate he's sporadic. He throws more at the corners. His balls move a little more, but he's not necessarily the most efficient. I think Tyler will make batters do the work more. He's going to throw. You can see it in that video. His balls are right down the middle, but they're hard now.
Yeah.
They weren't hard before, and also he just looks more fluid now than he did. Like he looks more smooth throwing the ball than he did in the last tournament. I remember me and you were kind of joking about when we went back and watched videos of that tournament. Like his wind-up looked kind of goofy, but he looks legit now.
Yeah, he looks.
I didn't see a lot of movement on his balls, but they're coming in hard enough where it's like you're going to have to make the batter. Now, my thing is, when you play good hitting teams, it's like you start seeing that same fastball right down the middle. It's like they're going to start teeing off on it. But then again, you put in someone like Nate or Colton Titus where it looks like they're throwing more at the corners. Their balls are moving a little more. You might put more people on base walking the ball. So they just bring different things to the table. I think Lane Brock is the one that's probably not going to be the starter. Even though to me, I think he could be a starter on like another team, for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they all looked pretty good in the video.
Yeah. Now, okay, first game of the tournament, they're playing they got the opening game versus the Express.
Yeah.
Who you gonna have if you're like? Who do you think's who would you put in on the mound for that game for the first inning to start the game? And who do you think that they'll go with?
I would, from what I've seen, I'd put Colton up there. I mean, to me, I don't really care. Yeah, to me, it's not a big deal if he hasn't played in a game and the first game's the Express because, let's be honest, you're probably not going to win anyways. And I just think that he looks like the best out of those three and that he would give them the best chance. But what I think they'll do is probably start Tyler. And I think that'll still give him a pretty good chance. And I think he'll do okay, but I would, if it was my choice, I'd put Colton in there.
I think you're right. I think they're going to put Tyler on the mound. And we even talked, I talked to Hunter, and, he was like, yeah, and they have all said this, we're thinking about it as a team. We're, we haven't decided, we don't know who's going to be starter yet. We're evaluating each player, in these practices, and we're putting a lot of thought into it. And then, Lane basically said the same thing when I talked to him when we got this video too, and he was like, he said that, except he was like, yeah, we're kind of leaning toward Tyler, though. That's what he told me. So I think they're going to go with Tyler. I think putting Colton Titus, I agree with you. I think long term he's probably maybe the best one, but it's his rookie tournament. putting him out there cold turkey against the Express, it's a bad idea.
What better way to introduce him to the league?
That's a bad idea. So, you know what? I think they're going to go with Tyler. I think Colton, maybe you start him in the game 2. I don't know. I can't remember who they're playing game 2, but it's not the Express. And I think if they want to play them tight, maybe even win the game, probably not. But, make a statement in that first game. You got to go with someone more you can, I just think Colton's a bad idea to do that. I mean, I think he looks good. But,
yeah,
cold turkey versus the Express, man, that's West here.
Well, we'll see. All right, so our last thing we're gonna do here is the video was very short and we had a couple problems with it. Kale, I'll let you start and then we'll get out of here.
Well, you touched on the first one. The distance, jail regulation pitching distance is 40 feet. They look like they're at about 35, 37 feet. They look a little bit close. They probably just walked it off. They have like an actual measure like we do when we make the field. So, I'll come slack there. But they look a little bit too close.
Yeah.
What was the other one, Brock, that you had?
Well, the one that I thought was, I've said it a couple of times now, there's only 7 pitches in the whole video. 2, right. And like 2 for each person. Small sample size. And they're all cut up. Some of them are in slow-mo. I mean, you don't know if they threw 100 pitches to get those 2 good pitches each person. They only threw 3 or 4. So, it's kind of hard to tell, but we like reacting to this video anyway, so.
Well, you remember when Kyle Godino released that video of himself pitching? And it was like he threw 3 or 4 pitches like right in a row. And you could see like he's consistently doing this pitch after pitch, like you knew he was going to be good. Yeah. This is more like, half these clips are in like slow motion. One of them like cuts off before the ball even gets to the chair. Another problem I had with this was that none of the batters are swinging. So I have like no context as to, like if one of them would have swung, whether they hit the ball and I see the ball go like 40, go like a home run. It's like I have no context as to like, because the batters were probably just standing there for him as like a way for the pitchers to visualize it when they're like practicing.
Yeah.
So I really don't know. That would have helped me more to see how much movement's on the ball, because then you could have seen where the batter's going with the bat and where the ball ends up. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think you're right with the small sample size, and they're cut up, so it's like. Okay, he threw a really nice pitch right there. It looks great, but what do you do on the next one?
That could have been
like 5 balls, and then it could have looked awful.
Yeah, it could have taken him 3 hours to make that video, or 20 minutes. I don't know. So, all right, that's our reaction video. Based on what we said there, they'll probably make another one that has no cuts.
They probably will. I hope they do. Swing the bat, guys. Swing a little bit, and get Nate out there because I want to see Nate. In comparison to the other two, and I hope Hunter said it's going to be probably a game time decision, so they're probably going to hide who their starter is going to be. They don't want people to know. That's what I'd probably do. Hopefully they make a decision though before that, and they just come out and say it.
Yeah, we would like to know.
Yeah, we would.
All right. That's our reaction video. Thanks for joining us, and we will have some more of the team schedule videos come out soon, so keep a lookout for that, and we'll see you then.